Okay. So thank you again to everybody for attending today's webinar on women moving mountains. We will probably see and hear amazing pieces of information and experience on how a mountain can be moved and how a mountain can be climbed and overcome and what you learn from that climbing. Thank you to Natalia, who is the gender coordinator in the cost action. This is a cost webinar today. She is accompanying me in terms of watching the chat a little bit and also telling me if I should start the recording or not, which I have not missed so far. Thank you for that. Women support women mostly, or they should support each other. So welcome to this cost webinar that is supposed to be for cost women, this European science actions. And we are the cost action on sustainable hydropower today, making this webinar available to as many women within cost through speakers we know from all over the world. Let me say it like this. Some of them have participated in workshops of our action last year already. Some of them I know by friendship and connection and common activities in conferences of other kind. So let me introduce very shortly the three speakers today. We've made it to get together Yiying Zhong from the University of Wisconsin in Madison, USA. She is the research program director there. Marie-Pierre Gosselin, PhD from France, but working in Norway in NINA, that's the Norwegian Environmental Agency. You correct me if this is not correct, Marie-Pierre.
Yeah, Norwegian Institute for Nature Research.
Okay, thank you. She's a research scientist and has, let me say, she's joined a little bit closer to hydropower coming from mussels and fish. That's what I first understood from her when I met her in her first presentation. And Eva Kremere, the technical expert and project coordinator with a high focus on small hydro from UNIDO in Vienna. So these three women are just some examples of what you can bring together in terms of what can women tell as their career stories. And we today simply named this Moving Mountains because we think a lot of these women move mountains all the time. Sometimes they might not even recognize this firsthand, but after being sort of exhausted to a certain degree, they might realize this was a mountain and I made it to climb across the peak or get up to the mountain and come down again very successfully, maybe with too much effort, with whatsoever. So we'll listen to all of that. We have 5 questions and I will guide this through the questions with just asking the single speakers and make sort of 3, 4, 5 rounds, depending on how the answers to the questions are overlapping or not. You can put your questions in the chat, but we will also cater for a roughly 10 minutes Q&A towards the end of the session. So let's start with the first question. If you look at the title, Women Moving Mountains, what was your personal mountain to climb when you started out in your profession? So let's start sort of alphabetically from the back. Yiying, would you be so kind to be the first one here?
Okay, of course, love to. Well, great to meet everyone here. My name is Yini Shon. Again, really quick introduction. I spent about 25 years in the hydropower industry, being a consultant and did a variety of different things and worked on hydropower projects all over the world. For the last 5 years, I've been managing a large energy research center at University of Wisconsin in the USA. But I still have a passion to help women, particularly women, but other young professionals in the hydropower industry. That's why I'm here today. So I would say the personal mountain, I remember when I first started my first job as a water resources and dam safety engineer back in the early 2000s. My first mentor told me almost on day one of my job and said, you know, you're gonna always have to fight against 2 things in your career. First, you're a woman, and second, you look too young for your age. And I literally thought he was joking. I'm like, right, being young is a good thing. I have energy, and being a woman, what's that, really mean? As long as I can do my job, why would people care, right? So I really didn't think much about it, but then throughout my career, I really experienced those things that have been a constant obstacle in my career. And 25 years later, today, I still feel like I'm still climbing that mountain. Even though as I grow a little bit more gray hair, I find it to be slightly easier, but it really doesn't entirely go away.
Okay, thank you for that one. So Marie-Pierre, what about you?
Yes, so it's a pleasure to be here, first of all. Yeah, I'm Marie-Pierre Gosselin. I'm French, but working in Norway. I'm a hydroecologist. With my specialty is the influence of river flow on how a river function. So yeah, I moved from looking at fish and mussels to actually looking at the impact of hydropower on rivers and specifically environmental flows. That's my passion. So yeah, I have worked in and studied in 6 different countries. So I'm actually a citizen of the world, more or less. Yes, my personal mountain to climb, the biggest lack of self-confidence and huge imposter syndrome you couldn't think of. I mean, looking at myself now, I can hardly believe it, but it's true. And it was fueled and started by a comment was made to me years before that. So during my bachelor in France by a university lecturer, and it was after an exam, and it was a difficult period for me, and I didn't do so well. And that lecturer said to me literally that I would never make a career as a scientist because I am not competent enough, and I would be better pursuing a career in IT or tourism. And now I'm laughing about it because, of course, being the strong-minded person I am, I didn't listen, and I pursued my dream. And I'm laughing about it now because I'm laughing because I'm saying, well, I actually did that because I work a lot with computers, and I've spent my careers in 6 different countries. So I visited them and, experienced a bit of tourism. But I must say, as a 21-year-old, that's absolutely crushed me. But I would say also it fueled my willingness to prove him wrong.
Okay, thank you. That's a very different perspective, but very interesting.
Yes.
And the very what you would hear from 100 women would be 100 times different again. So that's the most fascinating thing for me. Eva, what about you?
Hi, thank you, Barbara. Thank you for having me. Yeah, my name is Eva. I work for United Nations Industrial Development Organization. I work with small hydropower, renewable energy space, with international projects and to connect people, ideas, practical action. Outside of work, I'm also a mother of 2 young kids, 3 and 5-year-old. So it is quite interesting to manage everything at the same time. And if I look calm today, it's only because it really takes a lot of logistics and planning to make everything happen. About the mountains, and the thing is that when I climb the mountain, it's not mountain anymore, right? It's really a hill or rock. But I try to understand my achievements and what have been my success. So to answer this question, my personal mountain when I started would be realizing that I was in wrong mountain on wrong career path. So switching this needed a lot of courage. At 24, I had what looked like perfect plan, stable management job, a coordinated work across 240 stores in Baltic countries, meaning 3 countries under my control, not control, but influence, deciding assortment, managing people, quite challenging, demanding work, but realizing that it doesn't fulfill me. So I needed to look for something different. So I decided to move and start from zero. Yeah, I moved to China, and started as an intern. And in work, what I found could be really meaning that I could actually bring a change in the world, a good change. So for my ego, I did not enjoy it. Going from manager to intern is, let's say, a humbling experience, but it was the best training, right? Also, nothing makes you modest faster than learning whole new acronyms. From one sector to another was full of the acronyms. It was it required me to learn fast, let's say that. Yeah, so that's my first mountain to do, like be brave enough and then change the career. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, thank you very much, Eva. I mean, what I hear from you, and I like that, when I climb, it turned out not to be a mountain anymore, but a rock only.
Yep.
So you learn through that climbing, and I think it's a real matter of courage. And I feel you were very courageous to say, I climbed the wrong mountain first, so I changed the mountain again. I think that takes a lot of courage to really redirect yourself in your life so much in a professional way. And I like this little quote. It was the wrong mountain. I changed my career path. So that's quite a wise and short and concise statement already. So if you look at what was your highest mountain so far, not in the beginning, but maybe later in your life, maybe Eva, you want to continue on that. What was your highest mountain so far? And how did you climb the mountain?
To continue with the previous, what I was saying, that it was a completely different topic when I moved. So the next mountain was completely different. Although I really was interested with this about this topic, energy and renewable energy, before, so it wasn't completely unknown, but still I didn't work in that professionally. So the highest mountain was building real credibility in technical sector, coming from management, coordination. So also a lot of digging, information, learning, information collecting, being brave to actually appear in places and present myself as someone who is hardworking and willing to do. So what kept me motivated is I remembered why I switched the careers, right? So reason why I'm there, why I'm going through the struggles and the humbling experience. I wanted to work with impact. So it was really rewarding when I felt that actually I'm now climbing the right mountain, that this is the effort I'm doing, the nights I'm not sleeping, the nerves I'm using is for bigger goal, for the right mountain, as I keep repeating. When it was very hard, I broke big goals into smaller base camps. So understand that I need to do this report, this task, this call, and not seeing everything what I need to do within the project. And yes, I use a bit of humor. It really helps to manage a stressful day. And if you can laugh, you probably are able to survive the week ahead.
Okay, thank you. So work with impact, I think, is not such an untypical statement from a woman, I must say. Yep. Most women lay much more weight on to have an impactful work purpose in their working life. So thank you for mentioning that also. Let's go back the triangle. So Marie-Pierre, what was your highest mountain so far, and how did you motivate yourself?
I really like Eva's statement. I didn't know it was a mountain, because actually it's that when you climb the mountain, you don't know it is one. Actually, it's when you look back actually that you realize how far you've come and how tough also it was. For me, it was, I would agree with Eva as well. For me, it was to make a name for myself and build credibility in my field. That was far from given. I would say on a side note as well, to achieve a permanent position as a researcher, because that in the current status in academic research, that is just something that is like the holy grail. So I'm really happy to have achieved that. But I think also, if I look back 17 years when I just finished my PhD, I didn't realize how hard it would be. I knew it would be hard, but I didn't know how hard it would be. And how motivated myself, I think it was just by taking action, taking it one step at a time, one email, one connection, one publication, one application at a time. And I think as long as you are taking action, actually, that's positive, because you're going forward, one way or another. But I must say also, there has been moments when I nearly give up, and I think really what I kept telling myself, that I've come too far to give up now. What helped also was the enthusiasm I had for my topic, and also the purposeful work to have an impact. But also, I would say that I've got a bit of a personality like a pit bull. So once I bite, I don't let go. So that helped as well. And also, what helped a lot is having people around you, your cheerleaders, that would believe in me when I didn't believe in myself enough, I would say.
Okay, thank you for that one. So Ying, you can put on top whatever you experience now.
Yeah, I would say the highest mountain is again very similar to what I mentioned earlier, is being recognized for the abilities beyond my look, my gender, my age, especially when in the industry there are a lot of seasoned gray-haired male peers that just appear to be more credible, just from the appearance. So I would say the things that I've learned, how I motivated myself, was to first make small ones, take small small steps to build your credibility. I think Ava and Marie Perry already mentioned those keywords multiple times. You need to build your credibility. You need to make people understand you are capable of getting things done. And these people, once they believe your abilities, they are going to become your advocates. They're going to go out and tell everyone else around them that these women are very capable and you should work with them, right? So they amplify your value to other people. Another thing that, again, kind of echo back to what Marie Perry said, focus on the bigger picture, focus on what you see being the small valuable gains that you have gained through climbing the mountain. You ask yourself, did I achieve the small goals that I set for myself? Did I earn valuable experiences through, playing this role? Did I improve, in the last 6 weeks or 6 months? I think those little questions you ask yourself, evaluate yourself, really help you, see the things you have achieved over the period of time. So that motivates me to continue to climb, continue on the path that I chose. I would say the last thing that I really focused on to help myself is to focus on the impacts that I made to people, to the industry, rather than focus on the title. Did my title reflect, my value? But people see that regardless of your title, your impact that you had on them or on the society, you've done good things for them, you've done good things for the industry. People see that. So if you realize your value through the impact, then that serves as a motivation for you to continue taking the path that you chose.
Okay, thank you. So we're all ready with the next question, and that might a little bit overlap with what you all three said already. But still, what was your biggest learning or your best to be singleized learning from that climbing the highest mountain? Let's go back again, reverse action. Ying, what was it?
Yeah, so I would say, yeah, there's some overlap of what I just talked about, but I would say number one, the fundamental thing is to diversify and broaden my own skills and broaden my network. So if you have the skills that are required to do your job well, you can climb the mountain much easier. You'll have more confidence to do that, and other people will see that as well. The other thing I think is important is to think big and act small. So think big is focus on the big picture, think about a bigger goal, but take actionable and measurable small steps, one step at a time, making small wins, as I just mentioned. And also, don't rush to prove yourself. I would say wait for the right moment. Wait for the right moment where your capability can shine through naturally without verbally trying to convince people. People can see that through actions, through your proof of your abilities. The other thing that I think the other two panelists also mentioned, find mentors and allies. And those can be men and they can also be women, they can be men as well. Build that friendship, build that network with people and stay through that relationship.
Thank you so much. So going back to the next one, Marie-Pierre, what was your biggest learning through the biggest mountain?
Haha.
Or a small mountain, whatever you like to.
I would say never give up. Never, ever give up. Even when it's tough and you just want to cry and you think, I'm never going to, just don't give up. Pick yourself up and then continue. And always remember also that the slightest of action you take can have a huge impact and change the course of your life. And so it's important to always take action because, it's just I think you only fail if you just stay where you are and don't do anything. That's the only thing. But if you take action, then that's already a success in a way. I've learned also to be like a duck, so that to let the negative comments go through my feathers. Really, that means that don't listen to people that put you down, or the ones who want to give you so-called advice, and that's end up to put you down. Like the number of times I've asked, yeah, but you should really have a plan B, like. Just in case research doesn't work, you should have a plan B. And I've never had a plan B because I was too focused on having plan A. So, and I would say that I've learned that if you want to achieve it and it makes you happy and you're willing to get out of bed in the morning, so then that's the path to go for. And again, find your people. Find your cheerleaders, and it can be, find your mentors. And as Ying said, it could be men or women. I mean, for me, the biggest mentor I've always been men. So, these people that would cheer you on and be your advocate, that's very important as well.
Okay, thank you for that one. I love that. Don't only have a plan A, just make sure you have a plan B too. Yeah. I think we had a lot of discussions in earlier webinars where it was mentioned that be prepared.
Yeah.
An essential thing also. So that's up to that. So Eva, what about you? What was your personal learning, highest learning, deepest learning from your highest mountain or whatever mountain in your profession?
There are so many, and with every day, the learnings come and go, and they rotate and mutate. And so for this moment at the time, starting from zero is not failure. So it's always okay to start over if you realize that it's not the right place, and if you're not like Marie-Pierre, who knows this is her path and everything falls in place. For me, it wasn't the case. I tried something new, but it really helps. All my experiences helps me now as well. And it actually gives me this interdisciplinary approach, understanding. It opened up my mind. So I am grateful for all my mountains. Mm-hmm. Being in the right place at the right time, this is something you cannot influence, but it really matters. Sometimes you are, sometimes you are not, but be patient, and one moment you will be in the right place in the right time. Just have a confidence and carry on.
Okay.
You don't need to know everything, right? So just start doing something and keep learning. Recently, I went to the really interesting seminar, and it was about communication. Everyone knows that communication is important, right? I do know, but I didn't realize how important it is that men will communicate between themselves and help each other. And women are good at communicating, helping each other, but not in so much in finding a strategical communication. So I would say that we need to do more, and I need to do it more, and I'll try to do it more. Don't be afraid to ask for improvements in your career or advice or how to move ahead and do it strategically, plan ahead, like be prepared, as you were Barbara saying. It's important to be prepared. And one more learning, you can be ambitious and still be human. It's important to keep in mind that you need to be a human for fellow men and female, and you don't need to become this rigid, heartless person, and you'll get in the power. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. That was quite a heap of statements and advice already. Thank you for that. Yeah. Be ambitious, but still be human, I must say. I'm really impressed by that. And you're right. Be strategic. Don't be afraid to ask. That's a critical issue for many women, especially when they are in their earlier stage of careers. And prepare. That's what we already said. To be in the right place at the right time sometimes is more like you are also exercising in an intuitive way how you do things, and you recognize more by intuition than by rationality that this is the opportunity coming around the corner. I've been in that situation myself too, and I still remember my strongest statement was when I was threatened to lose a job that I had done parallel with another job for years. And I went up to my boss and said, listen, I've heard that. See my finger? This finger is to tell you, I want this job. I have deserved it. I have worked for it for years. And if you don't want to give it to me now, just let me know in detail the feedback. Why not? It took a couple of more weeks, but I got the job. So speaking out, speaking up, things like this, and take what you think you have deserved. You can't get more than a no. So, but I'm not the one to mainly speak here. So let's go to the next question. What, by your today's view, what do you think are the biggest mountains for women that still prevail in their professional environment? Very often technically in energy, also engineered driven, also male dominated. What do you think are the biggest hurdles still for women to overcome? If you call them mountains or barriers or hurdles, doesn't play a role. So Eva, what do you think? Let's go back this way again.
Yeah, for me, somehow it's a really hard question. I don't know. It didn't answer didn't come naturally, but let me tell you what I come up. I would say that there's less sponsorship, so women get advice, but less doors are open, right? So, but it connected to this ability to communicate and build the strategical relations, because it's completely normal that doors are open to people you trust. And if you don't know the person, if you haven't built this personal relationship, you don't really open doors or give them advice. So I would say that it's both sides. It's women should do more in communicating and building partnership and relationship, and also the doors should be open a bit more. Yeah, about everything what other panelists were saying about double standards, that women need to show a little bit more to be noticed. So it asks a little bit more work, a little bit more effort to be actually on the same level. However, I would say that it does change because there's so many wonderful men nowadays who are really supporting women.
Okay.
So another would, Barbara, you wanted to say something?
No.
Okay. So invisible work. So it is difficult to have all my roles at the same time and keep sanity, right? But as well, I'm really thankful about my husband who helps me a lot. So so I see that there is this balance happening, and I am able to do things because of this partnership. I would say that females should also like take more risks and not afraid of the change. So it is fine to jump in unknown. However, here we speak about how important it is to have career and ambition and growth. I would say also that it's completely fine for girls to decide that they want to be wives, they want to be house managers, they want to stay at home. It's completely fine. I really see how much effort and how much good for future within your kids and you can do as a house manager, right? So the key is to have the freedom of choice and without any judgment from fellow girls or male or anyone. Everyone should have a fellow opportunities and also to choose. If you want to stay at home, stay at home. It's completely fine. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a very valid statement also. Thank you so much, Eva. So Marie-Pierre, what do you think? What are still the biggest hurdles for women?
So I would say, so of course there are some cultural environment where obviously for women it's not, I mean, I recognize that I am from a Western country where it's probably easier to be a woman in a technical field, although it's always has its challenges. I would say there is, to start with, there are also some environments where it's pretty much a boys' club, or I would say, as I said to some students last year who were complaining that in engineering studies, it was really, they were fed up of a boys' club atmosphere. I was just like, fear not, when you are like, when you are more mature in your work 20 years later, it is still a boys' club, but it's an old boys' club. So I mean, at work. Which can mean sometimes it's pretty much, and some of them don't, that's the trick, is that it's not possibly that they are against us, but they sometimes don't realize how intimidating for women that kind of environment can be also. So I would say that nonetheless women should, as you said, Eva, also be more daring in a way, and just and be like, don't take no for an answer and go about that. I would say also that there's some things that is also that we hear a lot in women, and I've suffered from that myself. It's imposter syndrome, so the feeling that whatever we do, we are never good enough. I think what was quite refreshing is to read a statement and see an interview by Christine Lagarde, who is the former head of the World Monetary Fund and is now the head of a European Central Bank. Although she's not an economist, she is a lawyer. She didn't have an education in economy. And when asked by a student if she ever had self-doubt, and she said, always, but she just smiled through it. And I think it was quite refreshing to see that, very successful women can still have that kind of self-doubt. So I think the key is not to let it affect us in a way, and to move through and to go forward nonetheless. I would say one of the barriers is sometimes the competition from other women. Because I mean, I've experienced it, and for me it was always like, there are wonderful men that have supported me and support me all the way, but sometimes the negative experiences were unfortunately caused by some women manager who saw the competition instead of seeking to just lift each other up. And I think that's very damaging to our career. And I would say maybe also we need to stop believing the myth that women have to be perfect in every aspect of their lives and have it all. So we are strong. We are Wonder Woman. We can be what we want to be, but we can't be at the same time the perfect wife partner, the perfect mother, the perfect employee, the perfect whatever. I really like this citation by Michelle Obama when she said we can have it all, but not at the same time. And I think that's quite right. It's that there's a time for everything, and it's okay not to be perfect. It's okay not to have it all figured out. It's fine. It's like nobody is perfect. There's no man that is perfect either. So be whatever you want to be. Just do the best you can all the time, and it sure is good enough.
Okay. Thank you for that one. Oh, and with two quotes from two very famous and convincing women, I must say, who really made it.
Yeah.
Thank you to you, Marie-Pierre. What about your view, Yiying, on what is still the biggest hurdles for women?
Yeah, actually my opinion is very, very close to what Eva and Marie-Pierre already talked about. Essentially, it's a glass ceiling for women, sometimes caused by our own bias or other people's bias. A lot of the women are generally acknowledged for our planning, communication, and organization skills. So we make wonderful program managers, project coordinators, whatnot. But then oftentimes there's that stigma in many people's minds that women are lack of the big picture vision or leadership skills. So the glass ceiling always kind of exists there for women to rise up to a certain level, but then it stops. The availability of senior leadership positions are not as available to, not as prevalent for women. There's an interesting quote from Melinda French Gates' book called The Moment of Lift. She said, sometimes all that's needed to lift women up is to stop pulling them down. So when they say, people pull women down is to, not give that opportunity when it's there and not think about women around them who have the potential to go up. And sometimes it's men, sometimes it's ourselves, right? Sometimes it's our own lack of confidence in our own mind, and we are pulling ourselves down. I see that in myself sometimes. I also see that in my daughter, who, is a star performer at school, but then she always thinks that she's so terrible at exams and she doesn't do well. And then she just kind of gives up, even though she can be one of the best in the class in certain subjects. So we need to acknowledge our own potential. We need to build that confidence in ourselves so we don't pull ourselves down. That's the way to keep ourselves up.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah. Just writing to the end to not miss that one. Thank you so much. So we're more or less with the main questions we are through. What we will have in another round is the recommendations to other women, how to climb successfully. If you have questions, why don't you now start to put it in the chat, and we'll come back and answer them as far as they have not been answered through the recommendations that should follow to close the session or getting to the close of the session. So for myself, I've heard a lot of things. I've not heard many things that are completely new to me because I'm working on gender for quite a while. And I must say, I realized myself only how important it is to focus on gender when I left my profession and when I had the time to look at it more narrowly, and when I put together all my experience, also from the senior sort of gray-haired man somebody mentioned, and even after 33 plus years in hydropower, I still had statements made towards me that made me flabbergasted, because I had thought we were beyond this, but we were not, and we are not completely. So one thing is the self-acknowledgement through yourself with the confidence you need to build up. And as women, I think we should build up more and we should support each other more. And the other thing is simply to not shy away and not be scared. Just go and ask politely. If you don't ask, you will never get an answer. If you get a no, you can reflect on the no and think about yourself. Why did I get the no? And then maybe even go back and ask for feedback on that no. Or if it's working well, you get what you want. It sounds easy. It's hard to start with that, but once you have experienced it, I think it makes you more courageous, and that's what you need. So for me, visibility, audibility from women is one of the center things women should do, but I will not take away the advice from the other woman. There is one question. Was your confidence something you always had, or did you have to intentionally build it? If so, what helped you most? Training, mentors, time, experience. So why don't I give that to the round again? Ying, would you like to start with that?
Sure. This is a really great question. I think confidence comes from all the different angles. You can't build it all by yourself. You need other mentors and people that can give you advice, be a sounding board. Sometimes they don't necessarily have to have the brilliant idea that you never thought of. I mean, none of these ideas are new, Barbara just mentioned, but you need that reinforcement. You need to hear that from other people externally to reinforce your own confidence, your own ideas. But also, you need to push your boundaries a little bit. Sometimes you make decisions that you're not confident about, but you consciously can push yourself, say, why don't I just try this? Just get a little bit uncomfortable, but this may change something. And once you take that step, you may or may not succeed, but if you do succeed, you build more confidence. If you don't succeed, you learn a valuable lesson. You come back and say, next time I try a different one. Next time I try a different challenge, right? So these are the small steps that you can take to help you build confidence in the right path.
Thank you for that one, Ying. So Marie-Pierre, what do you think? How did you build confidence?
I didn't have confidence at the beginning, that's for sure. I was like so shy and so unsure of myself that it was ridiculous. In a way, it was really ridiculous when I reflect back on that. What helped, as Ying said, it was like the experience and some build up, like and getting out of my comfort zone. I think for me, it really was, and I'm not saying that people should do that, but that's for me what the really worked. It was when I decided to spend a whole year abroad for my studies, and I lived the comfort of my university, and I just went to Quebec, and they still speak French, so it was but very different. But then I was 6,000 kilometers away from my family, and I remember myself, arriving at the airport in Montreal and saying, okay, now mom and dad are 6,000 kilometers away, and there are 6 hours time difference away. So basically, if there is a problem, I will need to sort it out myself. And for a confidence boost, and actually that you could see the difference between Marie-Pierre before she went and Marie-Pierre after. So I think, and that's if you are like to be in a different environment, when you realize that actually the only person that has to do things is you will probably, do things not always in the best way, but actually it will build your confidence because you can just do it. And that's the biggest confidence boost ever.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Eva, what about you? How did you build your confidence? And there is a second question very close to that. How did you build assertiveness at the beginning of your career, especially if when you were in a group of confident men?
Yeah, I completely understand this, and I think that I'm still working on it because I also feel the imposter syndrome. So I think it's a path. It's not that one moment you're confident, another you're not confident, another one you're jumping in and you're completely confident. I think it's a process. So depends also where you start from, right? So I would say that for biggest part of girls, fake it till you make it would work. you know, that you would just do it and then you would see that actually you're doing quite good, right? It's important how you speak to yourself. Speak to yourself as you would speak to a close friend. Don't be harsh on yourself. Be kind. Be kind, granny, for example. Yeah? Be nice to yourself. Also, if the confidence is really an issue, and sometimes we do have challenging experiences from the childhood time, I would say that speaking with a coach, professional coach or therapist would also help. And I would like to unstigmatize going and looking for help.
Okay, thank you so much. So if there is no further question, we'll enter the final round. And what would be your recommendation to other women how to climb successfully? I mean, we've heard already quite some stuff, but maybe you might want to add one or two concise things you want to give to the other women here in the room to keep in the back of their heads and try to follow it. It's fake it like you make it is one thing, okay, but what's your best advice to women? So shall we start with Eva again and go backwards or forward, whatever you look at it?
I'm glad to. From my experience, be brave to be a beginner, right? So it's never late to start. Don't wait for 100% of confidence before you speak up. Mm-hmm. Confidence often comes afterwards. You just start. It was spoken over and over again, and I would like to say it again. It's important to have a pack, your group of people, and I hope that it would be nice to have a pack of women, right? I would say wolverines, but wolverines are climbing alone, so it's not a good example. I would say a pack of wolves then, female wolves, who work together and help each other, and I think that would be a wonderful thing, not to be afraid from a fellow girls, but actually to find support there.
Okay.
And the last thing, it's important not to behave. We don't need to behave like a boys. We have other jokers in pocket. We don't need to copy them. They are better at being boys than we are. So it's fine to be a girl. It's fine to be good at communication and people skills, and try to look for your strengths rather than copying something what is out there previously, right? We are trying to change the world. We're trying to make it better. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Eva. Great advice. Yeah. Don't try to become men. That's a major statement. Yeah. So Marie-Pierre, what about you?
Perfect introduction to what I would like to say. It's be yourself. Be yourself. Don't be proud of who you are with your qualities, flaws, your imperfection, you know, your differences. Be yourself, because when you're yourself, you will naturally find also your pack, your people, your cheerleaders that will lift you up when times are tough, because sometimes 10-minute conversation can make the difference between giving up and carry on. Whatever happens, never give up. It's because things happen, but it takes time. It takes time, and you have to be patient also, because it's like it's a slow process. I think when you are now, I'm looking at that after 20 plus years of experience, but I remember my 20-year-olds I would have wanted to achieve that like yesterday, and it takes so much time, and so I think be patient. What has been said also, do not be afraid to take risks, but I would say also in a way, be kind, and do what you want with love and passion, and give and know how to receive love. And that's quite weird talking about that, in science or whatever, but in the end, we are humans. We are human people, and we thrive when we are in a sort of loving, caring environment. And I think we need to spread that as well. Okay. So, yes.
Thank you so much, Mike. Yeah, that was also very good add-on. Ying, last but certainly not least, what is your advice?
Yeah, we have talked about really a great, number of really good advice. I would say, don't give up, but also be flexible, be agile. Those two things don't have to be contradictory to each other, right? You have a mountain, you want to climb the mountain, but you can take a different path. Or you can pick a different mountain to climb if you find out that the first mountain doesn't work, right? Like Ava's situation and myself as well, going from hydropower to bioenergy, right? I choose a different mountain to climb and I started at the bottom of the second mountain, but it turns out to be maybe a better fit for myself, for my own career and personal growth. So be agile. There's that saying that say, when one door is closed, there may be another window open somewhere else. So look for those opportunities that help you reach the overall goal of your career or personal growth, right? Become valuable, become impactful, and grow personally, professionally, and to learn different skills, expand your network. All of those things are important, but find the path that's most suitable for you.
Okay, thank you so much. My God, that was a lot of wisdom from wise women. Younger or older doesn't play such a role. It's not only biological age to say you're an experienced person. So from my side, I can only say my credo usually is don't stay by yourself. Don't stay alone. Look for help, look for support through mentoring or networks or whatsoever. Join forces, come together with other women. It won't be always uncompetitive, that's for sure. Only because it's female doesn't mean you're a better human being. You can see that very clear in some political functions these days. So that doesn't make the difference. Let me say, women are allowed to be stupid also. I'm sorry to have to say that, but that's my political perception for the moment being. But don't stay alone. Don't do everything yourself. Don't take all the burden on your shoulders. Try to share that, because the share means exchange, and the exchange means you get inspiration from outside also, not from inside yourself. Don't be perfect. Don't try to be perfect. It takes such a lot of energy, and you won't gain, according to this anti-20 rule, you won't gain too much by making it 120%, but it will take 150% of your energy. Network, come together. If you don't like that network, try to find another one that suits you better, whatsoever, and help each other. I still want to quote again Madeleine Albright's quote to say, there is a special hell for women who do not help other women. So think about not wanting to burn in hell, but to help each other and be, let me call it sisterhood. Be sisters with each other. I think that also helps a lot on the mental and emotional side alone. And you don't have to become a man and do the same style of career or ambition. We are women, I think we have very special talents that men don't have, maybe also vice versa. There are some things we could copy from men, but it's not so much for us to motivate us to become too male all the time. Maybe women sometimes need to speak up first, need to speak up better, more often, make themselves more visible and more audible. And at the end, if you're not recognized anywhere because you don't speak and they don't make yourself seen, then don't wonder. Nobody will come and detect you. You have to show yourself from all alone. And that's something women have to overcome more than men. Men are much more conditioned to that. So with that in mind, I suggest we conclude that. I would like to take 2 screenshots. So I would ask everybody to turn on their cameras for just a couple of seconds. No, my art of making a screenshot. Okay, I see almost everybody first. And just a second one. I'll be there in a minute or not. Okay, that was this one. One more, please. Okay. So there are still some cameras not on. Yeah, thank you again. And I still welcome the number of men we have in here. And I hope for them it was also sort of an educational event and an insightful event we did. I have to insert that. Okay. So with that, I would like to conclude this and finish the recording in a short time. Thank you everybody for attending. This was our venue for the International Women's Day 2026 because it was a Sunday and we didn't want to get lost on a Sunday and doing a webinar on Sunday. So with that, I think we did quite a nice job for everybody. I hope you got your things you needed to hear and you want to process further. Come back to either Cost or to me whenever you have more questions. I'll be happy to channel you to the right woman or simply let you know what answer I would have available for that. Thank you again. I'll stop the recording now. Have a good day, rest of day, and yeah, hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, Barbara.
Goodbye.